Where'll you be going?
Texas?
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Go on, make it happen.
And now here's Steve and Michelle.
Welcome from the heart of Dripping Springs. We are Mallett and Michelle, hosted by me, Michelle Lewis, and Steve Mallett.
Hey, Michelle, how are you doing?
Hi, Steve. I'm a little allergied out
Groggy
today.
and foggy.
Yes, sorry.
Welcome to the only podcast not owned by the Chinese government and not controlled by AI or an algorithm.
Oh, well, yet.
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 I hope not. Maybe if they offer us enough money.
Yet. Oh, I wanted to tell you a cool story. A friend of mine, he's in the Coast Guard. Mm-hmm. He's a friend of Tate's, but he's actually come and stayed with us a couple of times. And his name is Andy. And he is in the Key West, in the Keys.
Okay.
And he sent me a picture of a boat in Key West. On the back of it, the name, Dripping Springs, Texas.
No way.
Yeah.
In Key West?
In Key West.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, in Key West.
I can't even fathom how you get a boat from Dripping Springs to Key West, I guess on a trailer.
On a trailer. You're exactly right. Yeah, he's going to send me, because it was on his story. So he's going to send me the picture. Once he sends me the picture, I'll post it on our story.
Social media. Hey, the show today brought to you by M. Elliott Studio, Capital Farm Credit, and the Mallett Integrity Team Real Estate Experts.
Was it my
it's
turn?
It's your turn, Michelle.
Oh, it was my turn. I didn't take any cold medicine today either.
This is you. This is just you.
I'm having the residuals of it. So before we came on last week, we had the Star Awards, the Dripping Springs Chamber Star Awards, and we were very honored to be nominated for the Up and Coming Business of the Year award. Yeah. But more importantly, it was so cool to look around the room and see so many of our former or future guests.
There was like 7 or 8 people there that have been guests on our show.
Yes, and Christy Seguin, who owns Rose Haven Bakery and Event Center, she won that.
Was it Business of the
she won Up and Coming Business. I think. Did she win Business Person of the Year too? Maybe. I think so. Yeah. But Business of the Year was won by Indigo Health, Dr. Michelle Wendt, who has also been
a guest.
Nonprofit was Fortis Therapy Center. Yep. Dr. Kyle Marchand.
Kyle was also a guest.
And his partner, Meredith. Actually, his sister today and niece are guests on our podcast today.
Oh, okay.
Katie and Ellery Walker.
Small world.
Well. It is a small little town, so that kind of works that way.
I'm looking forward to getting Katie in here. I met her at the Star Awards.
Yes, you did, and it was really cool, wasn't it?
It was cool. Yeah. I wanted to give one other shout out. The best customer service went to South Star Bank.
Yes,
Kim and Brent over there.
Wasn't that cool? And I mean, the MC of the show was Bama Brown,
who has also been a guest. But God, I was just so engaged with him up there because of what we do here in front of the mic. And we're just fledglings at this, but
kerfuckled.
We're kerfuckled. He is so good at that.
Yeah, he really is.
I guess he's been doing it 40 plus years, but he's a master.
He really is.
It was like watching Picasso paint a painting. He's really good.
His daughter Alex was there also, who has also been a guest. Estachio
so funny.
Betty,
yeah, that's right.
also a guest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the who's who was all there.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it poured down rain.
It did.
Poured down
rain.
And
we needed it, but it came at a bad time.
Absolutely.
Hey, have you ever heard the term DINK?
Yes.
Do you know what it means?
Double income, no kids.
Double income, no kids. Well, there's a trend on social media where, and it's apparently getting millions of followers, where kids, young adults, either who are boyfriend and girlfriend or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever.
Or cat and eraser, pencil eraser.
They are proud that they have 2 incomes and no kids. And this whole social media trend has sparked some new terms that people are using. One of them is DINKWADS. Do you know what that is?
No, what's a dinkwad?
Dinks with a dog.
Oh, that's my son's.
Yeah, that's right. How about dinos?
Dinos, okay.
Double income, no offspring.
Oh, okay.
How about this one? Sink.
Sink.
Single income, no kids.
Oh.
And so I was reading this article and I was thinking about how did we get to the point where everybody thinks they are the most interesting person in the world and that everybody in the planet is so excited that they are calling themselves dinks?
I don't know, Steve Mallett. How did we get there?
I don't know. It's like this me thing all the time. And it drives me crazy, actually. I've been trying not to do it because social media sometimes becomes this place where you just post this like picture of me, look at me, you know, and I don't know. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around social media anymore. It's changing all the time. I know you like TikTok because of the informational videos, but this whole me thing is, it's kind of unsettling to me that they think they're special just because of their situation in life, because they've chosen not to have kids.
It is funny that you should say that because I just saw a video. He's a producer from TMZ, and he was talking about how people basically are over the overindulgence of celebrities, and you know how people used to just be enamored by them, and
true.
They're sick and tired of looking at like Kim Kardashian and showing off her $50,000 refrigerator, and they're
I thought you weren't going to say refrigerator.
No,
I thought you were going to say something else.
I'm not saying that.
Is that per side on those $50,000, or is that?
Yeah, just her $50,000 refrigerator and her pantries, and or people doing their fit check. Oh, look what I bought. This cost this and this cost that, and. I just think it's ridiculous, especially in this economy right now. When you said dinks, you know what? It's funny that you should say that because we're empty nesters now. But I feel at times,
#empty nester.
I feel at times we have about the same amount, what's going on in the economy. We have the same amount of money we did when we had 3 kids and 2 football players eating out of our refrigerator all the time.
I feel the same.
Where is our money going? I go to H-E-B and it's just like, poof, it goes out the door.
Yeah, you go, hey, I'm going to run into H-E-B real quick and grab a couple things. And you go up to the register and it's like, that'd be $108, sir. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've cut back on a lot of the luxuries. I wouldn't even say they're milk,
bananas,
butter. I
eggs.
was saying my getting my nails done and stuff. But you know what the new flex is now too? Apparently, is driving an older vehicle. That is the new flex.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not you.
Pretty soon with the new federal regulations that are coming out, you won't even have that option. They want you to drive a damn electric vehicle, Michelle.
Hey, have you ever driven a car that's over 100,000 miles?
Uh-huh.
You have?
Many times.
Like recently, when it's in the last 10 years since I've known you? No, my car hit over.
Your car hit
100,000 miles. I know.
Yeah. I think the last one I drove that had 100,000 miles on it, I think I had an Infinity that got 100,000, FX35 that got, and I drove that truck I gave to Gracie. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. I think I gave it to her and it had like 106,000 miles on it.
Well, you're a real estate agent, so you put 100,000 miles on. Yeah, that's in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But
hey, I before you move on to your story, I have my own acronym.
Oh, put your finger down. What is that finger?
Pointing at you. A SONARS.
What, like a sonar?
Yeah. So there's dinks, dinkwads, and now there's SONARS. Self-obsessed, narcissistic adult rejects.
Adult rejects?
Boom, boom, boom.
Do they call themselves adult rejects?
They're SONARS.
I guess they're SONARS. Okay.
Coming to a hashtag near you.
Speaking of monkeys running the zoo, I wanted to talk about the San Antonio Zoo. I know that it's been a while since I've been to the zoo in San Antonio. I used to love to take the kids there. Yeah. You've been to the zoo out in San Antonio, right? You took Tyler and Holly. Isn't there a picture of you and Tyler and Holly in your...
God, I don't remember.
Right in front of you, right exactly where you sit. It's right in front of you.
No. That is that giant 8-foot tall fiberglass gorilla that used to sit in front of the juice place on Lake Austin Boulevard. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that was the zoo.
No,
I thought that was the zoo.
It looked like the zoo.
I thought that was the zoo. Well, they have a really cool new exhibit going on right now, and it's called The Giants of the Ice Age, and I really want to go check this out. It's going on until May 5th. and they have larger than life ice creatures. They have a towering woolly mammoth and a saber-toothed tiger, and they have like activities and specialty foods and photo ops and so on and so forth.
That looks fun.
But I don't know. Even as an adult, I think I would like to go see this and the woolly mammoth. I saw pictures of it on TikTok, and I want to go see. Now I want to go see.
Hashtag the Ice Age.
Hashtag the Ice Age. But yeah, I think that would be a fun thing to do. So if you're looking for something fun, just take
March 9th through May 5th. Yeah, that looks like fun.
Take the hour-and-a-half drive to the San Antonio Zoo.
Yeah. I know you've been following the whole Kate Middleton thing. She's the one that came out and said she had cancer, right?
Yes, yeah. I have, and I was talking about how disgusting it was, how everybody was coming up with their own conspiracy theorists about what was going on with her, and it's just gross. It's gross.
Yeah, people don't have any compassion anymore.
No,
Social
people are
that.
jerks. People are absolute jerks.
This is your We Hate Social Media episode. Well, there was a story, this was from the Wall Street Journal. Nicole Wynn on March 11th wrote about this. There was a family photo featuring Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, that was published to her social media account, and she wasn't in the picture. They photoshopped her in to the picture and posted the picture. Did you not hear about that?
That's not the story I heard. I heard the story that it was Mother's Day in the UK. And she has always been an amateur photographer. And so she did some photoshopping herself. And so people noticed the photoshopping. But apparently the reason why they Photoshop it is because it has like these timestamps, or they can't resell it. There's something to do with it reselling. And then the Associated Press killed the picture. I don't know. There's this whole other like little rabbit hole that went down. But
there's probably
she
some
was
new
in the
stuff that have come out since then. Yes. Well, there was a big hubbub about maybe they just edited the picture.
She came out and said that she edited the picture, but then there was another picture of them at the farmer's market, and then people were superimposing somebody else's face onto her face.
Well, that's kind of what my story's about, the photo manipulation, and it's becoming a thing, but it's actually been around a long time. Did you know that there's a very famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln from 1852 that was actually the 16th president's head superimposed on somebody else's body?
What?
From
Really?
1852. They were adjusting photos back then. But that was sort of why I brought this story up is we all kind of do it, and actually our phones, believe it or not, do it for us. Did you know that when you take a picture with your iPhone that your camera is manipulating that photo?
No.
It's clearing up the light. It's clearing up the color. It's adjusting the contrast.
So there's no excuse if I take a picture and I look like crud.
No, that's what you look like, Michelle. But there's a push right now for people that people want the edited photos to be shown with some kind of a watermark or something so that people know they're edited, especially in the age of AI where you can change pictures and videos to do just about anything you want. They don't want the possibility that people can be passing those pictures off as real photos when they're not.
Okay, so I'm going to play a little devil's advocate here.
You should.
People have been doing this forever in the beauty and fashion industry. Forever. Why do you think so many young girls have body dysmorphia?
That's actually one of the reasons that this group is pushing to have these photos labeled, because it contributes to a culture of unrealistic standards.
I remember, because my daughter modeled, and I met a very famous model one time.
Yeah.
Very famous. And I was shocked at how bad her skin was when I met her in person. And I had just seen a picture of her in some rag magazine or on Instagram or something like that. And she didn't look like that, right? She didn't look like that at all. But it's just...
Photoshop, do you think?
Photoshop.
Well,
So what is the difference between Photoshop and AI? It's the same thing. Why are now celebrities up in arms?
That's the question.
Oh, okay.
I think
Photoshop the cellulite off of my legs,
well,
but
I think that's sort of the the reason for this movement is if it's one thing if it's your picture of your family that you're putting on your Christmas card or whatever, it's going to go to your family.
Yeah.
They know what you
You're
look like.
cleaning things up.
Yeah, it's another thing if you're a national public figure and you change yourself to look better than you are, or you put yourself in a different position, or somebody is standing behind you that you don't want there, so you Photoshop them out.
Oh, I can do that?
Yeah, you can do that. We do it actually in real estate. I was thinking about this. Here I was kind of ragging on this, but how many times have we taken pictures of a house during the day and added sunset pictures, which are very easy to do now. And the skies look beautiful. It highlights the house, lights it up.
But
and we've made grass green in the winter.
Yeah, but we don't take out buildings that aren't, we can't do that.
No.
We've never taken out things. And actually, one of our photographers one time, his editor actually, we had rust on the roof, on a tin roof.
Yeah.
And his editor took out the rust. And I said, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You have to leave the blemish
I
and all.
always say to our photographer, make it look as good as possible, but don't make it look like something it's not. Well, but that's sort of the point, right? It's one thing to touch it up a little bit. It's another thing to completely change the picture, add somebody in that wasn't there, something like that. But it's something for us to be aware in this world of social media and all the pictures we see online. You got to be wary of what may or may not be real.
Well, I'm going to tell you, full disclosure, to date, I never use filters on any picture you see of you and I that we post with guests. I never use filters
that explains
ever.
a lot why I look like that.
You're welcome. Even when they're bad at me, even when my eyes are closed.
A long time ago, Melanie Kenneman from Keller Williams Realty, she took a picture of us at ALC meeting, Agent Leadership Council meeting. And I said, Melanie, that's a terrible picture of me. And she goes, Steve, that's what you look like. And I was like, oh, okay.
Thanks.
I got over that pretty quick.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Hey, we've had a lot of conversations about the Fitzhugh music venue that is proposed. I know there's still arguments going up. There's still the neighbors that have collectively gotten together. I don't really know the status of it. I think they're still waiting on their permitting. I think the developers are still kind of in limbo, but I don't really know what the status is of whether it's going to continue to go forward or not. But what I do know, which I thought was kind of ironic, is that the Stop Music Venue people are putting on a concert. So they're going to so they're putting on a concert.
They're putting on a concert.
Yeah. May 18th.
Stop the music venue.
Concert.
Music concert.
Yes. At Ranch Park, May 18th. It hasn't officially been announced yet, but I've kind of deciphered the clues. Robert Earl Keen will be headlining. He's the one that sings that song, The Road Goes On Forever and the Party Never Ends.
That's a great one.
Apparently on Fitzhugh, that's where the party ends.
That's where the party ends.
Right there. But yeah, that was just a little tidbit. I think.
More power to them. If that's what they want to do is try and fight that stuff. It's, but it looks to me like it's going to go through.
I'm all for responsible growth. I have to tell you, I've been spending a lot of time up in North Dallas lately in the little suburbs up there. And I hate it up there. I told you, I went again this weekend and I hate it. I hate it up there.
Yeah,
I hate it. And
I
hope Dripping Springs does not turn into that spaghetti bowl. I've always heard that Prosper. I can't
even imagine. Even 50 years from now, can you imagine us being like that? I just can't.
I heard Prosper was very similar to Dripping Springs as far as kind of like small town feel. Actually, a coworker of ours, Cedric, that's where he came from. He moved his family from there. And it's gross up there. I don't like it. It's
I wonder
flat.
what Katy looked like 50 years ago. The city Katy.
In Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just wall-to-wall concrete.
Yeah.
Now.
I mean, like I said, I'm for responsible growth, but I can tell you that when we came back home and I just see the Texas Hill Country, man, there's nothing as pretty as this.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Every time I go away, when I get home, I'm glad to be here. It's a beautiful place. Well, I got one kind of silly one, and then we want to go out on this story about the eclipse, which we've been talking a lot about. There's going to be a new James Bond, Michelle.
Oh, I'm so excited. Can you see my...
Nobody cares about James Bond anymore, huh?
No.
Because he's too sexist or what?
No, I didn't even care about James Bond when he wasn't.
I love all the James Bond movies.
I don't know. Sean Connery. Sean Connery's the best.
Sean Connery was the best James Bond. I'll go with you.
You did tell me that there was a new James Bond, and you said his name, and I am pretty up on pop culture, and I have no idea who this person is.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I don't know.
Well, you probably don't know him. The 3 movies I found that were probably the most well-known were Kick-Ass, which you probably didn't see.
No.
Bullet Train, which is a pretty good movie.
I did see that one. Yeah, that's with Brad Pitt, right?
Brad Pitt's in that. That's actually a really good movie. And Godzilla. Oh,
okay, didn't see that one either. No.
Oh, you didn't see that one either?
No, I didn't see Godzilla. No,
anyway,
it wasn't on my list of things.
I wonder how in this day and age they're going to have a James Bond and still have him be sort of that classic cool, because he can't be womanizing. No. Right? He has to be a little more in touch with his touchy-feely side.
With his feelings.
I think they're going to have him going to Save the Puppy rallies or something like that. But, and every time a little bug comes into the windshield of his Aston Martin DB5, he's going to shed a little tear.
Can you imagine if 101 Dalmatians was remade today?
God, no
I'm going to make a coat of puppies. No, you're not.
There's so many movies from like the 80s and 90s that they could never make now. No. They'd be drummed out of business. Hollywood would never do it.
You're canceled. You're immediately canceled.
Yeah, that's right. Well, here's the serious one. The eclipse is coming April 8th, 2024. Yes. Yeah, again, if you don't know, you've been hiding in a closet somewhere. The city of Dripping Springs on March 21st declared a disaster, approved a disaster declaration for the city of Dripping Springs, which does a couple things. I reached out to Michelle Fisher and Lisa Sullivan, who has been a guest, to ask them if they had anything they wanted us to announce about this disaster declaration, and they sent me some stuff, and it points out a couple things. The disaster declaration ensures Dripping Springs Emergency Management can plan and authorize furnishing of aid and assistance, and authorizes Dripping Springs to take actions necessary to promote life, safety, and infrastructure protection.
That's the same as Travis County.
Yes, exactly.
So did Hayes County do it, or just City of Dripping?
Just the City of Dripping. The second thing it did was they're going to close the city down, so no city business happening on April 8th. Requires property owners and entities having events in conjunction with the eclipse with 50 or more people within the city limits to register that event. And then there's a website link for that. I don't know what the fine is. I don't know how they police that. So,
okay. So I know that it said entities, but if you're a restaurant and you have more than 50 people, you don't have to register because you already have permits for being.
If you're having a party. You think there are people maybe trying to get married at that time? Like having a wedding?
Oh, I didn't think about that. But I heard another little twist about this, okay? Everybody's talking about the traffic, and we're only going to know until we know, right?
Right.
But because Oregon was such an isolated area, it only happened in such a small part.
Swath
and this is really kind of happening across the country.
Right.
But because the center of totality are these areas.
I love saying that.
I do. But because the center of totality is in this area, which means that we're going to have more day or more darkness than anybody.
Right.
That the response that happened in Oregon isn't necessarily going to happen here because it's happening all across the country.
Right.
But there's still people that are coming from all over to here. So be prepared.
Well, I think it's good that the city is prepared. I am, in the back of my mind, I have this thing that it's not going to be near as big as they expect, but I could be wrong. There's one other thing that this disaster declaration does. Encourages all residents to be mindful of the increased traffic and to ensure all vehicles are filled with fuel the week leading up to the event, ensure sufficient groceries. It's kind of crazy.
You know what?
It's a 3-minute eclipse. You got to have adequate groceries.
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
No,
okay.
It's not. The reason the grocery situation, the grocery and the gas situation, is because of all the people that are coming here, and they're going to be buying up whatever they're going to be buying up. But I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
I'm going to go buy pallets of water and toilet paper right now, Michelle.
No, you're not. You're not going to do that. You're out.
Well, we're going to take a break here, but before we do that and get Katie Walker in here, we have a special announcement from Ellery Walker.
Yes.
So hang on just a second.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ellery Walker, and I'm in 4th grade at Sycamore Springs Elementary. Guess what? On April 8th, there's going to be a super cool eclipse happening in Dripping Springs. Don't miss out on this awesome chance to see the sky do something amazing. Grab your friends and family, and let's watch the magic together. Join Mallett and Michelle's at Pin Barbecue. Get there early. The sky goes dark around 1:27 p.m.
Proudly sponsored by...
At Capital Farm Credit, they understand that owning land is more than just a transaction. It's a legacy, a future, and a place to call your own.
For generations, Capital Farm Credit has been the trusted lending partner for land loans, farmers, ranchers, and rural dreamers just like you.
Their personalized loan solutions cater to your unique needs, making the journey to land ownership smoother than ever.
Capital Farm Credit, your land, your legacy. Visit CapitalFarmCredit.com or Mark Rutledge at 512-892-4425.
Capital Farm Credit, an equal credit housing lender.
Interior design should be an investment in your life and home. Let M. Elliott Studio transform your space, where interior design meets excellence in Central Texas.
Beyond just selecting colors and furnishings, team principal and owner, Montana Elliott, is a trained and licensed interior designer.
With her knowledge of architectural principles, building codes, space planning, and design theory, her team will work with you to understand your needs and lifestyle.
From concept to completion, M. Elliott Studio is committed to enhancing your space with a timeless and classic style.
Ready to redefine your space?
melliottstudio.com, 512-781-0224.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Mallett Integrity Team of real estate professionals. They are based in Dripping Springs and bring you over 45 years of combined experience helping people reach their hill country real estate dreams. When you want the best in town, call them at 512-829-2062 or look them up at mallettintegrityteam.com. And now, here's Steve and Michelle.
And welcome back. We are here with Katie and Ellery Walker. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
We only gave Katie a microphone because I think that Ellery will start singing Taylor Swift songs to us. Right?
Can you sing Taylor Swift?
She loves Taylor Swift.
Give that girl the mic.
She loves Taylor Swift for
She's
sure.
good. She's good.
She is good.
You better warm up your voice. We're going to make you do that here in a little bit.
Katie, you are a drip native.
I am.
Yeah,
You're more and more rare these days.
I am. Some people could call it a unicorn.
you are. Oh, see?
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, for sure. So you went to the OG high school.
I actually also went to the OG middle school, which was the old admin building, which is now vacant right now.
The asbestos
The one
building.
over behind, kind
Used
of
to be
across from City
Walnut.
Hall.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wow.
That was my 6th grade year was the last year it was a functioning school.
What time did your parents, or what time? What age were you when your parents?
3rd grade.
Moved here?
We were in Oak Hill area, and then we moved out here 3rd grade, and they still live in the house that we moved to, which is right near the new 7-Eleven HEB location. So they're very close to us, which is incredibly helpful for our girls.
Yeah, that's really close.
Yeah.
What are the biggest things you see, the biggest changes you've seen since what's the first memory you have of Dripping Springs, and what are the big changes you see around town?
So we had some friends, even before we moved out here, we had some friends that lived out here that would invite us to go to Founders Day before we ever became, members of the community. And so I knew Founders Day before I knew Dripping Springs. And so we would go to the carnival when it was actually where this building currently sits.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, it used to be in this field, and now it's, much farther away. And then I think I went to Dripping Springs Elementary. And so just, memories of having my mom come and pick us up and go to Sonic, because that was the only place.
Sonic was the only one? Yeah. Was there a Dairy Queen back then?
There was. So it was either Dairy Queen or Sonic as a snack on the way home. So,
we like to talk about the Super S grocery store too.
Yes.
The Super Sucks.
I'm sure you remember that.
It was the IGA.
IGA.
Oh, that's right.
It was the
then
IGA.
It became Super S.
And, that was our grocery store. It was very small, and that's where the Goodwill is now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, were you in the elementary school when they had the mold?
No,
thing?
that was our
much
kids'
later?
age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah.
I'm sure there probably was. Some at
Do
one point.
you remember that? They closed the whole school down for a couple of years?
I think I might have been.
You were in college.
In college, yeah.
Okay. Where'd you go off to college?
I went to UT. I had the opportunity to go to NYU and A&M and Rice, but I chose.
Wow.
I got accepted to all those schools, so I had the opportunity to go there, but I could not leave my family. I'm very close to my
so
family.
you've never lived outside of Texas?
No.
Wow, that's even more rare.
I know. Isn't that cool?
I never wanted to leave. And when I was in college, doing all the resumes and getting ready for internships and stuff, so many friends were just so ready to go to Chicago and New York and San Francisco. And I was like, I'll just apply to the architecture firm that my dad knows, one of the mechanical engineers, I'll just go there. Like, that sounds really great to me to stay in Austin.
Yeah.
So it was an easy choice to kind of think about you and David, your husband, raising your kids back here in Dripping Springs.
I will say though, that when I was younger and I went to high school here, I said I would never come back.
Yeah, that's what
when
my
you
daughter
were in high
said.
school,
yeah.
you were like, as soon as I get out of here, I'm never going to come back.
Yes. I mean, it's where you grew up. It's where, you were like, I can't get out. I can't wait to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we, in 2015, moved here into High Point, I was like, I can't believe we're doing this, but it was the best decision we've made.
When you have kids. So you just had Ellery
Yeah.
then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We just had Ellery. Yep.
Yeah. So did you go to school for interior design?
Yes, I did. That was I knew I wanted to do that from very early on.
And watching your mother too. Your mother has impeccable design.
Oh, is that right? Your mom also
She's not an interior designer, but she is, it is in her soul, I think. So
she had a staging company for a little while. Mm-hmm.
She did for a year or so. And then it just became, just a lot for her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so when I was younger, I had a really big bedroom that was actually 2 bedrooms with the walls taken down, and she let me do anything and everything I wanted to. I plastered the walls with a plaster finish because I was like, no, I'm not okay with this this regular Texas,
orange peel
exactly.
Texture, yeah.
I painted it multiple times. I had a ton of IKEA shelving that I would move around the walls, and I would move my bed one way, the futon another way, and it was a really fun space to be when I was a kid.
That's cool. But then you go off to UT and you get a degree in interior design.
In interior
I didn't
design.
even know they offered that at UT.
Yep. And
then you became a project manager and you did some pretty big projects.
Yes. So I started off at a company called at the time it was PSP, Page Sutherland Page. Now it's just Page. Was there for about 6 years, and then I left there because I was so tired of just doing red lines and markups and stuff. And so I left actually to go be kind of a design liaison, in-house designer for an architectural granite and marble company. It was actually called AG&M right now. I forget the name that they were bought out. But that's where I met David.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he was building their new facility, and I was brought in to help design their new showroom. So there was a good year or two where I was not actually in an architecture firm. I was meeting the love of my life. So,
yes.
So that was fun. We got to actually we learned to work really well together, and kind of build things together. And I would say, hey, let's do this. This would be really cool and look really great. And I would have a drawing of how to do it. And he'd be like, this is not how to build that. He'd go, I like it. We can do it, but it needs to be built this way. And I went, oh, well, that's even better. I like that.
We have that right now on a project where somebody that had an idea and they had no idea how to implement that. The staircase that I'm talking about. It's like the staircase from heck.
It was like they saw it in a magazine and they said, we want this. And then the carpenter started building it and said, I can't do this.
Oh, no.
I think they're on their seventh.
Yeah.
I was going to say seventh carpenter.
Yeah. Well, you were a project manager.
Yes.
That sounds stressful to me.
It was. And the last firm that I was at before I basically retired from being an interior designer and a project manager was a company in Central Austin, STG. And I worked there for 12 years, 12 to 2012 to 2013. 23, 24. Yeah. So
Is that when you started working on the Magnolia headquarters?
Well, the
in Waco?
Magnolia project started in 2020. We went up there during COVID to interview for the project, and it was not June of 2020 is when we started like trying to get the project, and in February of 21 is when we found out we won it.
You won the project.
So we worked on it for 6 months trying to actually just get it.
So what did that actually entail? All of that?
Gosh, so much. So I was the project manager, a little bit of design, but I had to build a team of designers. And it's, as a project manager, it's stressful to build a team and still have people on other projects, and you kind of have to steal them away. So it was hard to get the girls I wanted or the designers and architects I wanted, but they bought an old newspaper building in Waco. It was the Herald Tribune that they were selling. And so Magnolia bought it, and we came to the plate with an idea and a concept of really completely reworking the building. We changed the entry. There was a big, massive hole in the middle of the building where the big printing press used to be. Yeah. And then we had this massive idea, which they were like, yes, that is exactly an amazing vision we want to run with, was to put a big coffee bar within this very large, very atrium-like space. But it was dark. There was like one window at the top of this, 3-story space. And so it was dank. It was, if y'all see, I need to find some before and afters, but it was disgusting and old and gross. And so we created it to be this beautiful atrium space. All this light was coming in, and we ran with that idea, and they chose us.
Did Chip and Joanna have a lot of input in
yes.
what they wanted? And I mean, obviously they're residential. And so you guys, took the commercial aspect of it. And
so STG being commercial experts and commercial workplace experts. That's why, big reason why they hired us. And we come in with all the code compliance. We came in with mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers, structural engineers, sound engineers, architects. We built multiple stairs. We put in a new elevator. So we were the experts coming in to help them.
Project.
We did work very closely with her design team. Not so much Joanna. She has her hand in a lot of other things. So, but we worked with her design team of 4 women who've been with her for a very long time, pretty much daily. So it was lots of Zooms. We would go up there lots of times. They were very deeply involved as well. And like, we want it to look like this. We want the materials to be this. And so towards the end of the project, towards the end of design, it really became us kind of just documenting their idea, which is totally fine. Yeah. I mean, but just to be a part of that design process was really fun and amazing. And, yeah.
It seems to me like a big part of that is that project manager fires pop up probably nonstop.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're just like, you are always trying to figure out a
stressful
solution to a problem. I bet that's a daily thing.
That's the stressful part, is, fires would pop up. There's a code thing. What are we going to do? This is because it was an existing building. And so you're literally finding like a rat's nest somewhere that not
maybe,
literally.
Maybe an act, maybe a literal.
But there was a part of where a part of the building, the slab on the second floor was only 2 inches thick. And so, so you have to come in and you have to get your structural engineer to say, well, we've got 3 options and one's going to be way more expensive and the other one's going to be less. And, let's meet in the middle. And so we found solutions to that. Scheduling and timeline were a big thing, cost and the budget and all those things. So
who has the conversations with the customer about the cost?
Unfortunately, a lot of that's me.
That's what I figured.
I was I was an experienced project manager when it came to smaller interior projects that dealt with existing buildings. You're going in on 1 or 2 floors, but this was a massive architectural and interior design project. So I was a lot of times in over my head, but I had a really good support team that was there to help me if I ever needed it. So yeah, the hard conversations were hard, and that was stressful to me.
Did anybody on the other side of that ever get mad at you?
Yes.
On the daily.
Whenever I see those kind of TV shows about those kind of things, and they're tearing something out, and they discover, like you said, that maybe all the electrical is not, it needs to be redone, or the plumbing or something, and it's going to be an extra $12,000. I always feel sorry whoever has to bring that conversation to the owner, but it happens. You don't know what's behind the walls until you start tearing things out.
Yeah, and obviously the price conversations were me like, well, because of that thing we found, we now have to go back and redraw or, and we're like, well, we don't want to pay more design fee, like, and we also don't want to pay any more, construction fee. Like, what can we do? And so it was a collaborative effort on how to, be efficient with our dollars.
So advice for our listeners, they're considering some project. What is your advice on the expectations for the cost? Like, if you figured it's this amount, is it 1.1 or 1.2 or 1.25? How much should they kind of in their mind be prepared
a contingency for? I would say always plan on at least 10 or 15% contingency and have that in your budget. And if you don't have to use it, great. It's money back in your pocket or money that you don't have to spend, but make sure it's part of your budget.
Don't do a project that spends every penny you have to meet the budget, because there's always going to be something.
You know what that reminds me of? When we were doing the short-term rentals, and Steve came to me and he said, I said, how much do you think all this is going to cost? And
we were furnishing an entire 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that had nothing in it.
Yeah. He said, $10,000. Bless your heart.
I actually thought I was going out on a limb. I'm like, Michelle, I'm going to give you a $10,000 budget. You just go hog wild. She's like, well, we could do the master bath and maybe the master bedroom for that.
Oh, that was with renovation too?
No, it wasn't.
Well, there was some.
A little bit, but it's getting the washer and dryer, the refrigerator, but then for an Airbnb, you're talking about everything, bare bones.
Beds, mattresses, sheets,
dust ruffles.
The whole kitchen, coffee makers, pots, pans.
Right. He wasn't there. And it was like, oh, okay, well, we need curtains in here. Okay, well, not only do we need curtains, but now we need curtain rods. And that's, I guess we need curtain rods. And we need,
Yeah.
So everything. But do you miss that world a little bit?
I do. I miss being creative. Before I left, I really wanted to get more deep back into design. But also a creative outlet for me is just things I can do at home with David. I don't miss the project management.
Sounds stressful.
It was, whenever I tell people like why I left, it's kind of like I was working for someone else's bottom line daily. If it weren't the company, it was the client, and I wasn't working anymore like on my family's bottom line, and where we stood, spiritually and, lovingly and all those things. And so, having time with my girls more and being able to pick them up from school. And that's been you were gone a lot. I remember those times, but speaking of David, poor David, I feel most sorry for David at Christmas time. That man probably just doesn't sleep all of half of November. And he gets it done.
He gets a little bit of sleep.
He gets it done. We get it done in waves.
So
you got to fill us in. I know what you're talking about, but our listeners are like, what are they talking about?
What we're talking about is in our neighborhood, they probably in all of Dripping Springs, they have the best cul-de-sac, and they full on decorate it. They go all Griswold out on, and every year.
In Katie's words, that cul-de-sac is the king of Christmas decorations.
I call it the Griswold corner, the Griswold cul-de-sac, because it definitely is. And I think, when they turn their lights
Ellery,
on.
you're not going to college because it's all been spent on Christmas decorations.
And
electricity.
And electricity. When they turn the Christmas lights, the whole neighborhood is like, boom. But tell me how involved are you? Like that whole neighborhood?
It's really started, I think, and my neighbors can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it probably started in 2020. We have some neighbors that moved in I think 2018, and we all kind of got to be really close during COVID. We created that little pod, and then that Christmas, I think that summer we did like a tight wire across the cul-de-sac connecting two trees, and I think that was one of our very first uses of that tight wire. And I think we put something like hope, love, and peace or something, just because of everything that people were going through.
Right.
And then we said, well, what can we do for Christmas using that same line? Because David had put a winch on the tree, and we were connecting, like it was, we know what the center point is, like all the things. And so we were like, okay, well, let's make the letters bigger. Let's make them different colors. And then I think that was really the impetus of starting to really go crazy with how how many lights can we do? The neighbor that lives across from us, he's in IT and like really loves like programming his lights. And I think he added to his circuits, you know, to help, you know, to get more in there. But we all at this point use LEDs. So that's, I feel a little bit more responsible.
So it's only costing $50,000 for the electricity instead of $200,000.
What is your electric bill?
Well,
in the month
because on some of those smart plugs, you can see like what the draw is.
Uh-huh.
And if you use incandescent versus LED, it's an incredible difference. I don't know the actual numbers.
I do want to know. I do want to know.
You know what? It's all for a good cause.
Yeah.
That's right.
Did the HOA give you a hard time?
No, they have never given us a hard
that's
time.
Good. Yeah, you never know what the HOA is going to do.
No, I mean we have a couple of ninnies in our HOA. just a couple of them.
Yeah.
Just a couple.
Katie, you mentioned in your bio that you're very entrepreneurial, which we can tell just by talking to you. So, you've done a bunch of other things. So what are you doing now? So
now I will say that the reason, well, when I left my interior design project manager job in the summer of 22, I was ready to leave, but I didn't know how to leave. And so at a swim meet that summer, I had heard from some moms like, oh my gosh, you know, we don't have a cheer coach anymore. And my ear kind of perked up and I said, who doesn't have a cheer coach? And they said, Dripping Middle School. And I said, well, what, I mean, can I, let's do it. So it's a very long story, but I contacted my old cheer coach who lives in Marble Falls right now. And she's really good friends with the high school athletic directors. And I said, what, can you talk like can I do this? And anyway, long story, but I made it happen. And so
yes,
I'm the current cheer coach at Dripping Springs Middle School. And so I'm not joking. Like the next day I put in my 2 weeks.
No way.
That summer, I was like, I'm done. But I said, I'll stay on. This was during Magnolia. So I said, I'll stay on until Magnolia was over. And that was the next March. So that's when it wasn't done.
Yeah.
But then I started coaching cheer, and then I've always been in love with like graphic design and just design and text and fonts and stuff. So I kind of was looking for a way to supplement my cheer coach stipend,
but also have a creative outlet.
Right.
Also,
another creative outlet. Mm-hmm. So then I started making some t-shirts for some friends and starting to and I think that next summer, my husband bought me for our anniversary an embroidery machine. He gave me an option. Do you want to upgrade your ring or do you want to get an embroidery machine? And was
that a hard choice?
Well, it was. But I also said, can we do the ring next year and then the embroidery machine this year? And so he knows that I need a creative outlet. And so he said, let's do this. Like you need something to like, you know, just do during the day when you're not at the school. And so the embroidery machine was kind of the next step towards Drip Swag Shop. So
that's what you're doing now.
That's what I do now.
Well, it's dripswagshop.com. You've got some cool stuff there.
Yeah. We have all kinds of stuff. I think, that's just kind of, it's staple stuff that I've got on there. I have a heat press at home, a big commercial heat press. And then I have the embroidery machine, but kids stuff, adult stuff, all kinds of t-shirts. And then several different teams have select baseball teams, like Dripping Springs Dazzlers dance team have reached out to do some specific fun stuff.
Some very cool stuff.
Hey, there's Ellery's name right there. Yeah. Look at that.
Cheer palm tags.
Cheer palm tags. That comes in handy in the fall. And then Ellery, if you scroll down on the left, Ellery, helped collaborate with me on this tween emergency kit.
I wanted
That's very cool.
I had that written down because I want you to talk about that. That's very important about.
This was your idea, Ellery? That's really cool.
I think it's going to send me to. There you go.
Yeah. So Ellery is in 4th grade, and we're very close, and so a lot of things that we talk about are just like what our minds and our bodies are going through, at this age. She's 10. And so she was like, Mom, what happens if something that day happens at school? And so anyway, I said, well, I could make some bags. We can embroider them and make them personal and solid. And we can put all the things in there that any girl would need for middle school or even elementary.
And it's concealed, and it's private.
It's cute.
It's cute. Yeah.
It doesn't, and you can take that in your Lulu, because all the girls carry Lulu bags now, like to the bathroom or during lunch. So you just put that in your Lulu bag and then take
What's
that to
a
the
Lulu bag?
A Lululemon, Steve.
I'm
Lululemon
sorry.
Mallett. I know. I try. It's really hard.
Well, at least I ask. I'm inquisitive. I want to know.
Well, and when I say Lulu bag, I'm not saying like a Lululemon like bag you buy. It is the shopping bag that you get when you buy something at Lulu.
I actually know what that is.
Working in a middle school, that is how
The bag of choice?
That is your
So
lunch
not
bag
the
of choice.
$120 bag,
No.
the bag that the $120 bag got put in when you bought it from the store. I get
exactly.
it. Okay, I get it.
So do you provide everything that's in the bag as well?
that stuff
And how
right
much
there.
are these bags?
So I think those are 34 with embroidery, and I think they're like 28 without embroidery. But it includes everything, like a little brush, some floss, lotion, chapstick.
Some personal items.
I like the hats.
I know you
Got
did you have some really cool trucker hats and stuff like that. I also want to talk about, aside from your drip swag shop, you have become kind of a little amateur beekeeper.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that is.
I was really interested in that, like 3 or 4 years ago. And I just one day, this was when I was still working at my project management job, and I needed some kind of thing, just to soothe the soul. And so I started gardening. And then it was like, well, if I'm gardening, I need some bees to help,
Of course,
make
that's
the process
logical thing to think.
happen. And so I bought my first, it's called a nook, like short for nucleus, I guess. And so essentially it's a queen and then 3 or 4 frames of comb, like filled out honeycomb, and then like babies.
Where do you get bees? You go to like beesrus.com or something?
Texas Honeybee Farm is a really great resource. But at the time they didn't have any nukes. Like we had gotten late in the game. And so my dad was very he got on Craigslist and he's like, Katie, I found you a guy in Taylor, and he
got a guy.
He sells.
That sounds totally like your dad.
Totally. I know. And so he's like, he sells nukes with good queen, and I'm like, and he was really into it, and because he had actually made a hive for a friend of my brother's, Nate. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, oh, I can make you one, and I can, let's get you a nuke. So anyway, he drove all the way to, I forget, Taylor or Tyler. My dad is horrible about remembering Taylor or Tyler.
It starts with a T.
It starts with a T. He drove there and picked it up for me in the evening, because you have to do it in the evening when they all come back, because they go out during the day and then they come back. So he drove there, got it, brought it back at 9 o'clock at night. And I've got the headlamp on, and I'm getting it out and putting it in our backyard. And then we just have to let it sit there for a couple of weeks. And then you go check it once a week.
How's it transported? What's in
the truck?
I know, but is it in a box or a bag? Or
It's in a box.
A sealed box.
So we gave my dad the hive box.
Okay.
He took that, and then the guy was able to put the filled frames in it.
Okay.
And in one of those frames somewhere is the queen. You've got to have the queen.
Right.
And so that hive, that was in July we did that, or maybe June. Anyway, and then that hive did not do well over the winter. And
was that when we had the big freeze?
That was, I don't know if it was the Snowmageddon or not. I can't remember. But I had an expert come out and look at the hive, and he was touching everything, no gloves. He just had the veil on with his jeans, and he lit his smoker with cow manure. Apparently it's the best stuff to burn, but he was like, yeah, you have a sick queen. So I had to re-queen the hive, which means you it's all Lord of the Rings, what is it? Game of Thrones style.
Yeah.
You have to find the old queen, killer, put it back in the hive, reintroduce the new queen in like this little box that they eat the candy out of. Anyway, you have to let them
because the old bees that are in there have to become familiar
Yes.
with the new bee, otherwise they just kill it.
Correct.
Because
So
it's
you-
considered an invader.
So when are we going to have Katie's honey on Drip
Have you
Swag
gotten
Shop?
any honey
No,
yet?
so I have 2 hives now, and one of them has a ton of honey, and so I gave them another box. And once you start giving them another box, and they start to draw the comb, they have to build the comb first, and then now is like the perfect time. This is called like the I forget. People are gonna think I'm the worst beekeeper ever. I'm trying to think of the name. I'm on the spot, but like
We have a lot of beekeepers that listen to Mallett and Michelle.
Yeah, we have a big beekeeper
I'll think of
following
it in a
here.
second. But like, there's all the pollen, right now. So, all the bees are starting to like really fill the comb and build the beeswax. And so I'm hoping maybe this summer we can look at something. But you should never take honey away from the bees. Like, let them have it because they have to eat it over the winter.
Oh, okay.
So unless you have a surplus, you should never take.
Oh, unless you have a surplus. I guess I'm not
Don't
going to
take-
Katie's house and getting
Yeah.
honey.
No.
I want to ask you about, kind of going something a little more serious. I want to ask you about raising kids in this increasingly complex and potentially more dangerous world. Have you had to have the cell phone conversation with them yet?
We have.
Well, you're with middle schoolers all day, too.
I'm with middle schoolers all day. And so there's been, I'm getting my cell phone on when I'm in 6th grade, right? And at the middle school, like that is kind of the status
That's
quo.
sort of the line.
Because you're potentially doing after school sports. And if they get canceled, you need to, but I also think back to whenever I was in middle school, like I would just go to the office and call my mom and tell her practice got canceled. you know? Like, and then so Ellery has an Apple Watch, which is super helpful. There's no social media on there. She can.
So can you message your mom on your phone?
Call her, message her, and I can like basically do everything on a phone except for like watch.
Talking to the mic there, Ellery.
I can do everything except for like YouTube or like just like the social media part of it.
Okay.
I can like
So
I
no
can
social
text
media, no
you,
YouTube on your watch, but you can get a hold of your mom.
I can get a hold of
Yeah.
my mom, my dad, and it's just like I feel safer.
You can get a hold of
Good.
Honey.
Yeah.
You have 3 emergency numbers.
Yeah.
Honey. Oh, that's
They're on
actually,
speed dial.
Honey is actually what they call her grandmother,
Oh, okay.
which is funny.
That's funny. Yeah, I was reading an article earlier today, a couple things. There's a lot of schools now actually going to
The bags.
the bags.
Yeah, where
I
they
think that's
put
great.
their phones in the bag at the beginning of the day and they get them at the end of the day. I
Yep.
think that's a brilliant idea.
Brilliant.
I
It
would-
is incredibly distracting.
Yeah.
I saw a thing on social media, like on Instagram the other day, where a teacher had done a tally board, like a dry erase tally board, and she had put like Instagrams, YouTube, Snapchat, Be Real, and then like text messages, emails. And every time someone in the class, she said, turn on your sound, turn on all your notifications. I want to hear it. And every time somebody got a thing, they would walk up and put a tally mark next to the thing. And the board was completely full with tally marks. And it was like 150. And that would have been, that's 150 times a child is being, distracted during the day.
I just can't even imagine though, I mean, when I went to middle school, when you went to middle school girls are probably some of the meanest people in the planet. And I can't imagine having a cell phone to where, little Susie wore a dress that was last season or shoes that weren't whatever. And now instead of just writing a note and passing it around this little football shaped note that instantly you're able to text all your little friend group and
Right, 'cause
just
that
spreads
trash.
out.
That little piece of paper when we were in middle school can be thrown away. And it's like out of sight,
Yeah,
out
you
of
might
mind.
get one
meh.
or two people.
But now you can take a screenshot of a Snapchat or a text message on someone else's phone and it's sent out wildly and it never leaves.
Yeah. The other thing in this article that I was reading, I found this fascinating. Most kids in high school or younger, if they're asked, would you give up social media? Almost 100% of them said, no, I can't. But if they were asked, would you like to see everybody get off social media?
yeah.
Like 86% of them said yes, meaning the only reason that they're on it is because of
Others.
the pressure of trying to keep up with what everybody else is doing. I think that's very telling.
Well,
to
I feel like
Says a lot.
the schools kind of perpetuated, especially when like my daughter was first in middle school, because it was bring your own device to school, and now the schools offer devices. And so they took a tool where if I was punishing my child, Kendall would be like, well, no, I can't. This is how I communicate.
Yeah, I
and it
remember
was,
that.
it really was. I'm like, I couldn't take something away that the school was asking the kids to bring to school with. So, I'm hoping that they've figured out and have gotten better, but good for you.
Yeah.
Kudos for you for not having something like that.
No, I'd really like to, if anything, if the cell phone does happen in 6th grade due to after school sports at school, there will be no social media. It'll be the tech. It'll be what she has on her iPad right now, which is just, entertainment stuff and the text messages. But I will say even like group texts with 4th and 5th graders gets really crazy because it's just a bunch of nonsense that they're texting each other.
Yeah.
And then some little something gets said and then everybody's up in a...
Hey, let me, I'm on a group text with 25 other women.
There you go.
It's a bunch of nonsense
Yeah.
that goes on
It doesn't stop.
It's a group. It's a professional group we're a part of, and there's 4 guys. And every once in a while, the 20 something women say, "Do you want us to add you guys?"
No.
And all of us go, "No, please don't add us to that group. If it's important enough, you'll send us a separate text."
Please, no.
I think there might be a change coming in how we how early we let our kids have phones, the access that we give them. I think when my kids were growing up, it was sort of like we just opened the door, gave them a cell phone, and off you went. You know, maybe a couple little restrictions there, but they pretty much were in the wild, wild west back then.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see the schools adopt getting away from schools at phone,
I know
from phones at school.
The policy, at least at Dripping Springs Middle School, I believe at Sycamore as well, is that, you cannot have them physically on you. They have to be in your backpack, and usually backpacks are like in the side of the room, or, you can't have it on you.
Right.
And they'll even, if you go to the restroom, they'll even say, like, show me your pockets, like empty out your pockets, because they don't want them, because there's just weird things, just.
Sure. Well, and then they got to talk to each other, which is
Also,
God
please-
forbid.
what a great skill
God
to have.
forbid. Yeah. God
I know.
forbid. I like that you said that you were also a weird Jane of all trades. And I love that you put, I can make animal balloons. I can make a balloon arch. I can embroider something. I can paint. I can wallpaper. I know how to use power tools.
Yep.
I can pick a paint color for you in 2 minutes.
Yep.
And I
wrote a note that said, "You and Michelle have the same talent for
So,
picking paint colors."
I have to
'cause
tell
that is
you,
one of
the-
Michelle's
The
talents.
first time I met her, the very first time I met her, it was at a shower at her house, and I went into her bedroom and I said, "Oh my gosh, is this agreeable gray or repose gray?" And we had a conversation, and she goes, "Actually, this is repose gray."
Yeah.
And we had this conversation, and I think it was my daughter-in-law, Sylvie, and she was like, "Y'all are weird." And walked out.
Yeah, it's really strange. I'm like the opposite of colorblind. Like I can see colors within grays. Like I can see yellows and browns and blues, and the tones of grays.
Yes.
And so I really love helping people, especially with like exterior colors, because it's hard. I will say, like our neighbor, this was many years ago, probably 5 years ago, she was like, "I'm painting my house a dark tone of gray." She had an inspiration image she had shared with me, and it was real moody gray with her red brick. And I said, "Great, like that's awesome. Let's do it." She was traveling to Dallas the day that the painter started, and I was working from home, and she said, "Can you please go check?" And I looked out my window, and I about gasped because it looked like submarine blue gray.
Oh,
Like it was like submarine gray. And I texted her, I said, "Danielle, you are not going to be happy with this." And I sent her a picture. She's like, "Oh my God, what have we done?" And she had taken the paint fan and made her own decision, but like at night, inside the house,
different
like
lighting.
different lighting. And she was just trying to get something going because she had to go to Dallas to be with her family and for something. So she goes, "Oh my God, can you please help me?" And I said, "Yes, of course." So I went over there with all my paint things, and I made a decision within 5 minutes, and I gave her several options, and they were able to repaint it the next day. Oof. But, I can help you.
Yeah.
I can help you, please.
It's not one of my talents. I could screw up a paint color before you know it.
I'm excited for the Drip Swag Shop, and so what do you have plans for as cheerleading? Are you you're going to now work for a different.
Yes.
Okay. So you're out of Dripping Springs Middle School at the end of the year.
Unfortunately, just because of some staffing elements that the district is kind of trying to move towards, I'll not be at Dripping Middle School anymore, but I'm going to be coaching at Hill Country Elite, HC Elite. It's a new cheer gym in Dripping, started by Katie Dotson and her husband. She has a lot of experience with all-star cheer, so it's an all-star cheer gym.
Oh, yeah.
And not only will they have teams that will compete throughout the fall and winter, they'll also have tumbling classes, an open gym, and
where are they located?
They're in the that office park across from the Polo Club area.
Oh, okay. I always say where Dr. Lewis's office used to be.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I say.
That's how we all.
That's right.
That's what I say. As well. That office park.
Okay.
They're in the back, and she's got a website. She's got social media, and we're excited.
And it's called Hill Country
Elite. For HC Elite for short. And their first day of business is April 1. And
ooh, exciting.
my girls will be there, and we're going to try out for All-Star. So, and then I'll be coaching one of the teams there.
That's really
this
exciting.
Summer. Yeah. So,
do you ever do any of the cheer stuff yourself anymore?
Yeah. So,
because you mentioned in the bio that you were making it more stunt oriented.
Her face. Did you see her? She's like, yes.
Well, yeah. So I will say at the middle school, I really push the girls stunting. It's because for me, cheer is a sport. It is very physical. It is very strength.
When you say that, define stunting.
That's where three girls are standing on the ground and they've got one up in the air, at least shoulder height or above. And so there are different levels of stunting. There are incredible transitions where you go from up to down to back up. There are different dismounts or cradles and way to come down. You can twist down. You can fall forward down. You can fall backwards down. You can twist up. You can twist down. And so you can be from shoulder height, or you can be at extended hand height. And so
I just got really nervous.
Kendall did that. When she was varsity, she was back behind there.
Yeah, so I always love watching that, but every time I see somebody raise up somebody above their head, and I know that person's 6-7 feet off the ground, and then I go, oh gosh, I hope nobody gets hurt.
Yeah,
it's really beautiful to watch. When I
first started, I would just have like these really weird like flashbacks of just being a cheerleader myself, and extensions. There's a certain stunt where the girl is up at a extended arm height on two bases. And we used to do it where your legs were about, the girl called the flyer at the top, her legs were about a foot apart. And if you think about that it's just so inefficiently not strong. So now the rules and the way that you stunt is that the girl on top, their legs are together. I just touched.
That's okay. You're all right.
But the legs are together, so you're stronger as one column.
Wouldn't that be less stable though?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Because they're more rigid, I guess.
Yes.
How much more training have you had to go through? Are you going to workshops and stuff like that?
I've gone to several workshops. I have to be certified in order to be the coach I am at the middle school. I'm certified in not only youth level cheerleading, but also like concussion training and it's progressive teaching. Like you can't just start at an extension. Like, you have to start with the progressives. And so,
do you think the average person that goes to a football team and sees the cheerleaders out there realize how hard those girls have to train?
No, they don't. They don't at all. I can tell you, having both a football player, a varsity football player, and a varsity cheerleader, they don't.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
well, I think it's important for people to realize how much time they got to put in to be able to do. I mean, the stuff that you're just describing, Katie, I'm like, man, that sounds like it would be really hard to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. There's what's the saying, Ellery? Something about you can tackle 100 plus pound person, but what is it?
It's like, boys can throw a 2-pound ball across the air, but girls can throw 100-pound girls in the air and actually catch them.
There you go.
Yeah.
And actually catch them.
Then, do you think, Ellery, that we could train Steve to do some sort when your mom, when all of us get set up, I think that we should bring Steve out there and we should teach him something.
Oh no, he'll never do it.
My hip is breaking as we speak.
Yeah. I think that's not cut out for you.
Thank you, Ellery.
On that note,
You know what, Ellery? That mean if you're making fun of me, that means you got to sing some Taylor Swift for us.
Yeah.
Come on. You can do it.
what's your favorite Taylor Swift song?
All of the girls you loved before.
Give us just one line of that. Sing it.
No.
Oh, she doesn't
Fine,
want to sing it.
I'll do another one. It's Is It Over Now by Taylor Swift. It's like think you didn't see their flashing lights. At least I had the TCT to keep my mic on the side of the room. I got my hips and thighs, and I whispered, "Oh Lord, I think about jumping."
There we go.
We're so
Very
proud
good,
of you.
Ellery.
Ellery and Katie, thank you guys so much for joining us today.
You're so welcome.
I really enjoyed it.
Ellery and I, we reconnected over Flora's nachos and our love for Taylor Swift. And so that's how I got her to do our Eclipse announcement.
Is Taylor Swift still alive?
Yeah, along with George Strait.
Inside joke for the
Inside
podcast
joke,
listeners.
Yeah. Along with George Strait.
No,
for sure.
it's really both of you. I thank you for spending this time with us. I've really enjoyed it. And it's a great example of, I just met you the other night at Star Wars, Katie, and didn't know much about you. Now you're a friend.
Yeah,
that's
of
why we
course.
have you on the
So lovely.
show.
And support small business here in Dripping Springs. We always say that. Drip Swag Shop for sure. And you and your family, I love the fact that you grew up here and now you're raising the next generation of Dripping Springs Tigers.
we love it.
Way to go.
Thanks.
Way to go.
Yeah, thank you both for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Ready to turn your land dreams into reality? Look no further than Capital Farm Credit.
Need a loan for your perfect piece of land? Capital Farm Credit is there for you.
Their dedicated team will tailor a loan to fit your unique needs because your dreams are their priority.
Capital Farm Credit, your land, your legacy. Visit capitalfarmcredit.com or Mark Rutledge at 512-892-4425.
Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better.
Capital Farm Credit, an equal credit housing lender. Elevate your living experience with M. Elliott Studio, your trusted partner in interior design, registered and licensed by the state of Texas.
You want your home to reflect your personal style and identity. Investing in a well-crafted design doesn't just beautify your home, it enriches your life.
Team principal and owner, Montana Elliott, understands the profound impact of a thoughtfully designed space. From remodeling to full design, M. Elliott Studio is the first step to unlocking your style.
Turn your aspirations into reality. Tailored to your taste and desires, M. Elliott Studio will work to create an environment that embraces your style with style.
Your space, their expertise.
melliotstudio.com 512-781-0224.
This show has been brought to you in part by the real estate pros at the Mallett Integrity Team. When you're looking to buy or sell, you need them on your side. Why settle for less when you can have real estate done right? Give them a call at 512-829-2062 or get more info at mallettintegrityteam.com.
You know you like us, so go now to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave us a review. Why don't ya? We love your feedback and comments. Email us at mallettandmichelle@gmail.com.
Thanks for putting up with us.